to This Day. It is Thursday, May 27th. There are no open meetings to tell you about today, so we'll just jump to tell you who's on the show. We have from Kaiser Permanente, Dr. Fred Alamshah, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about our health and some things that we can do to make ourselves better. And then we have the Yacht Club with Pat Rojek. And you know, the Yacht Club is a great club, and they've got lots of activities, and it doesn't cost very much, and you get to have some sail rides, and really a great organization. So I think you're really going to like that. All right, let's give you some important numbers. Now, the resident services is by appointment only. Now, you can call them at 949-597-4600, and the appointments are available from 1 p.m. to 4:30. And then for manner alterations, you would go to 949-597-4610. And the appointments are from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So you can give those numbers a call to make your necessary appointments. All right, our weather is looking nice for the rest of the day. We are burning off of our fog pretty much every morning this week, and we are going to end up with partly cloudy skies today, 73-57. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 74-59. Saturday, very nice, 73-56. Sunday, mostly sunny, 73-57. And then Monday, we're going to heat up again just a little bit, 77-62. Our sunrise this morning was at 5:43, and our sunset is at 7:53. And I just have to say, I chose this photo because it just looks super inviting. So I really would like to go wherever this is. So if you've been, send me a photo to Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. All right, when we come back, we will have Dr. Alamshah with Kaiser Permanente. So stick around. Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Fred Alamshah, who is here on behalf of Kaiser Permanente. Well, Dr. Alamshah, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Lisa.
Well, you're welcome. Now, I understand you are the Chief of Family Medicine out of the Kaiser Permanente Yorba Linda medical offices. And, you know, people can still come to the medical offices even though they are here in Laguna Woods, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, closer to Laguna Woods, we've got Mission Viejo. We've got a variety of Kaiser Permanente locations. There's 14 in Orange County service area. So welcome to come to any one of those.
Okay, excellent. And right now, what we're talking about is hypertension. And boy, I think that can start pretty much at any age. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We have, unfortunately, a pediatric generation that, from statistics, are less healthy than we were 30 or 40 years ago, meaning life expectancy is actually, for the first time in the world's history, the life expectancy of a younger person is not what we've historically had, meaning we basically have always had an increase in life expectancy. We've now seen a decrease. So I think childhood obesity, unfortunately, plagues our pediatric population, and hypertension is an outcome that we actually are now seeing in our pediatric patient population requiring medication. Obviously, first thing is always lifestyle change, but you know, for those that we can't, we do need to even consider medication.
Gosh, that's disturbing. I mean, that's really frightening that our children, you know, like at what age? Are you talking about middle school or high school age?
That's a great question. You know, for peds, we generally aren't as aggressive as we are with adults, but we can look at our statistics and we can say, is a kid at the 99th percentile? And if they're the 99th percentile, that's generally a bad outcome. I would probably say, you know, junior high to high school is when we're going to start to see some of these children kind of roll into higher blood pressures, unless they've got some congenital abnormalities. But for the average child growing up, maybe plagued with some obesity, maybe some lifestyle changes, maybe not, you know, as active, not on the playground, so to speak, maybe doing more TV time. You know, unfortunately, this is a disease that, you know, will catch up to you at any age, to be quite honest.
Well, yes. And you know, what's interesting is I was actually having this conversation not too long ago with someone that we were talking about how many years ago there was a big push to change diet for some of our middle school and high school kids to help to alleviate some of those things.
Yes. I mean, diet is absolutely important. And I think, you know, later on during this conversation, if we are talking about hypertension, I'm sure we're going to be talking about diet and some lifestyle changes. So we'll save that.
Well, exactly. Now, of course, most of us, have been on a lockdown situation for the last year. And I think we have tended to be a little lazier than we would have normally because gyms closed and there were so many things that we couldn't do. So what did Kaiser Permanente do to help, treat people and see them for hypertension?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. As I'm starting to see my patients face to face, I joke about the COVID-19, just kind of like our college 20, so quite a few people have, maybe gained 19 pounds during this lockdown. But going back to the lockdown, this was an important time. This was the first time in our history. This is probably in my medical career, the first and only pandemic, hopefully, that I'll ever see. But with respects to safety and patients not coming in, we actually flipped the switch back in March and we started doing home blood pressure monitoring, and we started to really get aggressive with home blood pressure monitoring. And in fact, we got lucky. We were ahead of the curve by about 3 months, because in June, we actually had HEDIS and NCQA, some of our national guideline type of organizations, that actually said home blood pressure monitoring was okay. And we could actually use the home blood pressure monitor in lieu of those patients coming into the clinic or to the medical office building. So obviously, as we knew during this pandemic, people were nervous. This is prior to vaccinations. People did not want to go out of their homes. They did not want to get infected with this COVID virus. And so we actually leveraged our own physicians with home blood pressure monitoring. We also had, as you may imagine, during this furlough of physicians, Kaiser Permanente never furloughed a single physician. We actually found meaningful work for even some of our surgeons who weren't doing elective surgeries. We actually had them reach out to our members with historically high blood pressure. So we are really aggressive at Kaiser Permanente. We had a list of about 2,000 patients who we knew had uncontrolled hypertension going into the pandemic. So we reached out to those members, and we're very successful to get to those members and have them monitor their blood pressure. And I think one credit in Orange County was not one of those patients ended up in the emergency room during the pandemic for complications of hypertension. So again, doing the home blood pressure monitoring, I think, was paramount to our success and for keeping our patients safe. I mean, that was the most important thing. Our patients were nervous about coming in, and yet they had a disease, a chronic disease. As you may or may not know, there takes about 38 patients that we use a term called NNT, or number needed to treat. And for every 38 patients that we have under control for hypertension, that's one less death that we have. So if you look at that list of 2,000, it doesn't, we may have prevented 10 to 15 deaths during the pandemic just from complications of hypertension.
So when you say home monitoring, is it literally the patient is monitoring and you've shown them how to do that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So a lot of these home blood pressure cuffs, and we generally have one that we generally try to promote at Kaiser Permanente. It goes above the elbow, goes on the arm. It kind of mimics kind of the level of the heart. And again, any of these home blood pressure monitors, if patients know how to do it, fantastic. If they don't, we can schedule them for nurse clinic. We can walk them through the process. I think there's, really good manuals about that. Again, you want to keep it right above the level of the elbow, and then you go ahead and document that. And now that we can actually use home blood pressure monitors as a legitimate, valid data point, we can put that into their medical record. So it becomes part of their home permanent medical record. We just put in the comments it was a home blood pressure monitor, but again, this is now accepted by NCQA, by HEDIS. So I think we've actually made a step in the right direction, because when you talk about hypertension, you always hear about this quote, white coat hypertension. I'm wearing a white coat. Maybe 20% of the population, they're nervous of their physician, or they're nervous coming in. Hopefully they're not nervous of their physician, but, we're well aware that there's always been, patients who will come in and say, doctor, I swear it's 150 over 90 when I see you, but it's 110 over 70 at home. I promise it's always under control. I don't want to take the medication. Well, now we can actually look at some of these home blood pressure monitors, and maybe we can avoid the diagnosis of hypertension. Maybe they've got an elevated blood pressure just because, I make up that they're a little bit nervous coming into our office. And, I always joke around with my patients, if they've got an elevated blood pressure, I'm an old school physician. I like to take it manually, and I always do it at the end of the visit. And almost always those blood pressures do tend to come down. Their problems are addressed, their chief complaint is addressed. Maybe they were nervous that, their sister or aunt got cancer and that was on their brain. And, once we talked to them and figured out that maybe they don't have the same risk factors and they don't have the same history, and then they're generally at ease, I generally take that blood pressure at the end. So again, the home blood pressure monitor almost mimics, hopefully you're comfortable at your home. It's a safe place. It's a safe environment. You're not necessarily stressed or emotionally stressed. And then that blood pressure could be accurate. And again, our goal is not to really medicate our patients. Our goal is to take care of our patients, but we also know if we can't get there with diet and lifestyle changes, we will, use the necessary medications to get you controlled, again, with that number needed to treat to prevent that stroke or heart attack.
So that's really great to know that you're able to have people do it out of their home. Now, one thing I would say, it could be a good, bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can do it at home, but don't do it all day long.
That's a great question. And I think, sometimes we have some patients who are just monitoring their blood pressure every second of every minute of the day. At least that's what we make up. You know what? Taking it once a day is more than adequate. For patients who are under control, I tell them take it 2 or 3 times a week. No more than that. Otherwise you'll get neurotic looking at your blood pressure. It fluctuates every second of every minute of every day. And there's no reason to get so worried and wound up about your blood pressure. And, we all have patients. I have my engineers are generally my most meticulous patients, and they've got the best documentation of their blood pressure at this time and at this moment in time and what they were doing. But at the end of the day, these are raw numbers. These are average numbers, and we like trends. We like to see where their blood pressure was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. The nice thing in our system is patients come in, and I joke with them. Maybe they came in for sinusitis and they've got elevated blood pressure, and they always downplay that their blood pressure was okay before, and then I can actually go back and look at the last 20 years. And I say, well, you may say that, but here's 17 points of your blood pressure greater than 140/90. Let's go ahead and just make that diagnosis. Again, my goal is to try to keep you alive. I don't want you to be alive, paralyzed on half side of your body because you had some kind of stroke based on not controlling your blood pressure, also known as the silent killer.
Yeah. Oh gosh, for sure. Okay. One last thing. What is the best way to lower your blood pressure? What are some things people can do?
So diet and lifestyle is always important. Exercise is probably the biggest key. Exercising every day will always help lower your blood pressure. We talk about sodium. So sodium greater than 2,400 milligrams on a daily basis is probably going to get you into a higher blood pressure situation. Unfortunately, during this COVID pandemic, some of our patients have gone back to smoking. Smoking will always raise your blood pressure. Alcohol will also raise your blood pressure. So again, some of those dietary lifestyle modifications, and clearly if those don't work, we also, ultimately have medications that we could use for blood pressure control.
Right. Thank you so much for the clarification and all the great examples. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll be right back after this.
Jackie, I'm looking at your MRI. Your shoulder seems to be healing nicely.
Well, Dr. Farrell, it feels really good.
That's good.
And I'm sorry. Baby, don't touch that. I don't want you to play with it.
Twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. I'm so glad that your shoulder's feeling better, but how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Schedule a video visit with your doctor and get quality care with no copay. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Pat Rojek, who is the Commodore for the Yacht Club. Well, Pat, so nice to see you. How are you doing today?
Just great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And as we were talking offline, we have had a great relationship with the Yacht Club over the years, and they've always been super gracious and took us out on a sail ride. And I just love hearing about all of your great adventures. And now that things are opening up a bit more, it looks like you guys are back in business.
Yes, we did shut down last March just for a while, and then we were able to open back up our day sales because we downsized the number of people that could be on board, and we instituted, certain best practices for handling COVID-19. So masks were mandatory. We wiped down the boat before and after every sail. And we reduced the number of people so there could be social distancing. So the day sales were able to come back before, other in-person events.
Right.
But we continued to have Zoom events.
Right. Well, you're outside, and
Exactly.
as long as you keep your distancing as best as you can on the boat, then there really doesn't seem to be any, breaking any rules or anything like that. So that's great that you were able to get out there and get some fresh air. So do you guys still have 2 boats?
We have one club boat, and then we have at least 5 members that have their own sailboats.
Oh, now do you use those boats or just the one club boat?
We use our boat for the club day sails, and then when we have special events like cruises to different destinations, a lot of times the members that own their own boat will join in. So we'll have sort of a flotilla.
Oh, I like that. That sounds even more fun. Now, the yacht club, there is a cost because obviously there are things that you guys need to pay for all these activities, but it's really quite reasonable compared to some of the other things out there.
It is the best sailing bargain around. And I moved to Laguna Woods mainly because they did have a yacht club with a boat, and I could continue sailing. And it's $150 for the year. Right. Which may sound like a lot, but it's such a bargain, because if you wanted to charter in Dana Point to go for a sail, the charter down there, you're going to pay $675 for 3 hours, $775 for 4 hours. Our day sails are 3 to 4 hours long, and for $150, you can go multiple times a year. And I chartered once in Newport on a Harbor 20, and it was $75 for 4 hours. So you go twice and you paid $150.
Yeah.
So our club is a great bargain.
So when you have the sailings, how many people will you be able to accommodate each time?
Right now, we're still sailing under our COVID protocol. So we are limited to 5 on the boat, the skipper, and 4 members. Now that we've gone from purple to red, at our next board meeting, we'll be discussing, all the procedures we put in place to see if we will be able to relax any. Normally, we would have 6, 7, occasionally 8. We don't really want that many, but, sometimes. So hopefully we'll be able to expand the number of people on board. But we went from sailing 5 or 6 days a week to 7 days a week to be able to accommodate more members.
Oh, that was awfully nice of you guys. That's great. Now, so are you still planning to sail every day?
So far, yes. Now we try to keep Saturdays for potential new members and people that have been on the waiting list. But sometimes we need to reclaim a Saturday for boat maintenance.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you definitely have to do that. Mm-hmm. Now, I also know you guys are doing full moon sails.
Yes. So that we stopped during the winter, and partly because of COVID, and it was cold. But now, starting in April, we are going to start that, and it's usually right around the full moon. Sometimes it's not precisely on that day, and it's really delightful. So you go out at night, the sun goes down, the moon comes up. We usually just sail under the head sail. Sometimes another member boat will go, and there'll be 2 boats out. But if you've never sailed at night, it's kind of a magical thing.
I bet. And we have been in contact with the Dana Point Harbor just because we regularly speak to them, and we do know that obviously the whales are here. Now, you don't just see whales though, you see lots of other great stuff.
What we have seen this year has been spectacular. Grays, humpbacks, always dolphins, a sea turtle, which we had not seen before. And it came close enough to the boat that the crew got a photo.
Oh, wow.
A big mola, which is kind of a big gray blob, also called a sunfish. Of course, sea lions, seals, and always birds, lots of birds, and sometimes rare migrating birds.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is awesome. I mean, obviously, when you're out on the ocean, you see all sorts of different things that you normally wouldn't be seeing if you weren't on the ocean. So that is awesome. Now, you guys also have a sailing academy where people can learn how to sail, or maybe like yourself, they already know how to sail, but need an entity to do that.
Yes. So to join our club, you don't need to know how to sail. And if you don't want to learn, that is fine. You can just go along for a ride. But a lot of people want to learn and get involved. So we do offer a sailing academy, and we just finished our introduction to sailing. We usually offer it once a year, just ran from January to March. And we had a drive-by graduation because we can't meet in person. So intermediate will be coming up in July 12th to August 16th. So we have a classroom component, Now, we couldn't meet in person, so we were doing Zoom classes, but in July, we might be able to meet in person. We'll have to see. So there'll be a classroom component, then a dockside class at the boat. The boat's in the slip, but we do some teaching right there. And then you actually have on the water lessons where we'll be out sailing, and you'll, be putting into practice what you learned. So it's also a great bargain.
Yeah, I tell you.
$15 for the class that just ended. So when we can meet in person, the price will go up a little bit because we do offer refreshments. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, that makes sense. And then this looks fun. You guys are having outdoor mini happy hours.
Yes. So normally our happy hour was a large group gathering. We used the clubhouse at 2400 as our base, but we had to shut that down. And then in, I think it was September, October, November, we tried a small mini happy hour that someone hosted outside at their home on their patio or backyard or at a park. And we limited the number of attendees to between like 6 to 10, was up to the host. And, you wore your mask except when you were eating or drinking, and you sat 6 feet apart. And then it was very successful. People were anxious to get out and see their friends. Then we closed down because, it was getting dark so early. It was very cold, but now we've started back up again now that we've had daylight savings time. So
yeah, oh yeah, we certainly, and then you'll have beautiful sunsets too. So that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are planning some trips coming up. Tell me about those.
Okay, so all our cruises last year were canceled, but we're thinking positive, and we have cruises planned to go to Catalina Island in June, Alamitos Bay in July, Emerald Bay, which is just off the coast of Laguna Beach. We'll go there. You can go there and back in a day, and we anchor and we swim and we have lunch and come back. And then we have a Duffy boat cruise planned for Newport. So fingers crossed, that we get to do these this year.
I love it. In fact, if I was living here, that is exactly the club I would be going to, because it just sounds like so much fun. And it's so different, right? I mean, you would never know that Laguna Woods Village, where it's really not that close to the ocean, has a sailing club. So I love it. I just love it. And one last thing, I know that you guys have meetings, but of course right now there's Zoom meetings. So when do you think you'll be able to start up again?
Well, we do not know. As everyone gets vaccinated, and it will depend. We have to follow the rules for Laguna Woods Village,
right?
Orange County, California. So we have to, see, because our meeting would be normally in a building in the village. We have to follow their protocols too. Okay. So hopefully, by June, fingers crossed, we're thinking everyone will be vaccinated and maybe the clubhouses will start to open up. Okay. But if not, we'll just continue right on meeting on the Zoom platform, once a month. And we have wonderful speakers. I mean, we've stepped up our game. We have had some world-class speakers.
I love that. And, and sometimes Zoom allows us to do that because then the people don't have to travel very far. They just go to their living room.
Exactly. It has been a bonus.
Yeah, it has for all of us. I mean, we've all been very fortunate to have this capability. Now, if someone wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Our very robust website, lwyachtclub.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us. I wish you well and hope you guys get out sailing as much as you can and have as many people as you want soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, Pat, thank you. And we'll be right back after this. A couple of announcements. You have one last time to watch the town hall about scammers. There's a lot of scammers out there that are taking advantage of us and Katie Porter wanted to make sure you know about that. So you can see it again tomorrow right here on Village Television, tomorrow at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and that's Friday, May 28th. Then also I wanted to just give you an update on the third election, important information. The ballots will be mailed to the members May 28th, that's tomorrow, and then there'll be one more town hall before the ballots are due, and that will be on June 7th. We'll keep you apprised of how that comes along. And one last thing, the Village Bazaar is back, and it's going to be here on June 5th, and that's not that far away. From 10 to 2, there are over 60 registered sellers that have a whole bunch of great stuff for you to check out, and that'll be at Clubhouse 5 parking lot. You can call 597-4382 for any information you might need, or you can send an email to recreation@vmsinc.org. Okay, let's take a look at our weather one last time before we head out. It's looking pretty good out there, you know, not too hot, certainly not too cold, and the temperatures are into the 70s, so it's actually quite pleasant out. We're going to burn off our fog and become mostly sunny this afternoon. 73-57 tomorrow, same thing, 74-59 Saturday, very nice, 73-56 Sunday, also 73 but 57, and Monday again a little warmer, 77-62. So have a great day in the Village. We'll be back again here tomorrow at 9 a.m. with some great information for you. And of course, you can always rewatch our programs at 12:30 and 5 right here on Village Television, or you can go to our YouTube channel, Village Television. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
With 2020 behind us, now is the perfect time to take care of all the things that you might not have been able to. Caliber Collision is just up the street from you, and we offer a lifetime warranty on all body and repair work for as long as you own your vehicle. And we offer free pickup and delivery for all our Laguna Woods customers. On or off the road, safety is very important to us, which is why we are following all COVID-19 guidelines. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life.
Hi, I'm John Bowser-Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
City of Hope is speeding cancer research and treatment to Orange County.
Go get a second opinion, third opinion. Go see somebody who has the expertise, because nowadays there is just so much research in every type of cancer that it's hard for one doctor to keep up to date with all the novel therapeutics and etc. So I think it's extremely, extremely important.
Are your hearing aids not working as well as you'd like? The person who programs your hearing aids is way more important than how much you spent on them. The good news is that we can help. I'm a retired electronics engineer who will precisely reprogram your hearing aids to your unique hearing loss. If that doesn't give you significantly better hearing, I won't charge you a dime. You have nothing to lose and better hearing to gain. So call Hearing Remedy right now and ask for your personal better hearing appointment.
I just love that ring. Where'd you get it?
I got it at the Jewelry Box. I saw it on Facebook, and then I went in and bought it. They have the most unique, awesome pre-owned pieces for amazing prices.
The Jewelry Box of Lake Forest, voted best jewelry store in Orange County for 8 straight years, offering unmatched prices on fine jewelry and watches, refurbished to new condition.
Visit us in our store or shop our website for just arrived items.
The Jewelry Box. It's about trust.